The red sun was sinking behind the black mountains. The sky turned darker, but the air still glowed with a strange, heavy light. Daniel Cross stood among hundreds of aliens on the wide stone ground. The aliens were silent. Their heads were bowed. Their long robes moved in the hot wind. At the center stood a crystal coffin. It shone with faint blue light as if the body inside was still alive. But Daniel knew the truth. His only alien friend, Kyle Thar, was dead. Daniel's throat was dry. He felt small among these tall beings with sharp faces and glowing eyes. He wore a plain black jacket, the only thing he had that looked close to mourning clothes. Everyone around him whispered in a language he could not understand, but he did not need words to feel the hate in their voices. Many eyes turned toward him. Many eyes burned with blame. Kale had been a warrior, a leader and a protector of his people. He had saved Daniel's life more than once, but now Kale was gone, and Daniel felt lost, like a man walking in a storm with no shelter. A deep horn sounded. The aliens raised their hands to the sky. The coffin's glow became brighter. Strange symbols appeared on the crystal surface, moving like fire. Daniel did not know what they meant. He only knew the air was thick with anger and sorrow. Then he saw her. Standing near the coffin was a woman with silver skin and long black hair that moved like water in the wind. Her eyes shone like burning coals. She was tall and graceful, but her face was hard and unreadable. She was Kale's widow, Vera. Daniel had only met her once years ago. She had spoken little, but her gaze had cut through him like a blade. Now, she stood alone, her head high, as if daring anyone to approach. The other aliens gave her space, but Daniel noticed the way some looked at her with fear and others with hunger. He felt her eyes on him, cold, searching. He quickly looked away. The ceremony ended with a sudden silence. The coffin sank slowly into the ground, leaving no mark behind. The aliens began to leave in groups, their robes flowing like rivers of shadow. Daniel stood still, staring at the empty space where the coffin had vanished. His chest felt heavy, as if a stone was pressing down inside. Then a voice broke the silence. "You are Daniel Cross?" Daniel turned. An alien approached. He was dressed not like a warrior, but in fine, dark clothes with golden chains on his arms. His skin was pale and his smile sharp. "Yes," Daniel said quietly. The alien handed him a metal scroll, glowing, with strange light. "By the law of inheritance, you are Kyle Thar's chosen heir. His fortune and his widow now belong to you." The word struck Daniel like a blade. He stared at the scroll, not knowing if he had heard right. "What?" "He," whispered. The alien's smile grew wider. "It is written. The council will not challenge it. His fortune, his weapons, his ships, his widow, all are yours now." Around them, several aliens froze. Their whispers turned louder, sharper, like the hiss of snakes. Daniel felt the heat of their eyes on his back. He wanted to throw the scroll away, but his hands refused to move. Vera stepped forward. Her eyes burned into him. She said nothing, but the air around her felt dangerous, like the moment before a blade strikes. Daniel's heart pounded. He wanted to speak, to refuse, but his mouth was dry. What kind of inheritance was this? Why would Kale leave him such a burden? The crowd began to move closer, their whispers turning into growls. Some faces twisted with anger, some with greed. A young warrior spat on the ground near Daniel's feet. Another hissed a curse. The man with golden chains bowed slightly and turned away, vanishing into the crowd, leaving Daniel standing with the scroll glowing in his hands. Vera walked past him, her long black hair brushing against his shoulder. She paused only for a moment and spoke, her voice low and sharp as a blade. "Do you even understand what you have inherited, human?" Daniel could not answer. She did not wait. She walked away into the shadows, leaving him alone with the whispers. Of 100 enemies. The night fell quickly. The sky filled with 2 moons, cold and bright. Daniel sat inside his small guest quarters staring at the scroll. The words on it shifted like smoke, but one line stayed clear. To Daniel Cross, I leave all that I own, and all that I protect. Daniel's hands shook. His friend had trusted him, but with trust came danger. Outside he could hear footsteps, aliens moving in the dark, watching him. A knock came at the door, soft but sharp. He stood, his heart racing. When he opened the door, Vera was there. Her eyes glowed in the moonlight. She stepped inside without asking. Her voice was low, almost a whisper. They will come for you. They will come for me. Kyle has left us both in danger. And if you do not learn quickly, you will die before dawn. Daniel swallowed hard. His life had already changed forever, but this was only the beginning. The night was heavy with silence. Outside, alien towers glowed with cold blue light. But inside the small guest room, only shadows moved. Daniel stood still, staring at the silver-skinned widow who had entered without asking. Vera's eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. They were not the eyes of a grieving wife. They were sharp, watching, judging. Daniel felt as if she could see through his skin, into his heart, into every fear he tried to hide. Why are you here? Daniel asked, his voice low. Her lips curved, in something that was not quite a smile. Because if I left you alone tonight, you would not live to see the morning. Daniel's chest tightened. He glanced at the door, half expecting it to break open at any moment. Who's coming? Her gaze sharpened. All of them. The clans want the fortune, they want Kale's weapons, and some want me. You are the only barrier now, do you understand? Daniel shook his head. His mouth was dry. I never asked for this. Kyle was my friend. That's all. Vera stepped closer. The air seemed to thicken. Her long hair brushed against her silver shoulders, and her presence filled the room like fire. Kale did not care what you asked. He chose. He gave everything to you. He left me in your hands. The words cut deep. Daniel could not look at her. Why? Why would he do that? Her eyes softened for the first time, but only for a heartbeat. Because he knew he was going to die. Daniel froze. His mind raced. What are you saying? Vera turned, her gaze shifting toward the window. The two moons shone on her face. Kale was no fool. He felt the hunters. He knew his enemies. His death was not an accident, human. It was murder. The word echoed inside Daniel's head. Murder. He thought of the whispers, the glares, the way the coffin glowed with strange symbols. None of it felt like peace. None of it felt right. Before he could answer, a sharp sound cut through the night, metal scraping against stone. Then, footsteps. Vera moved fast, her hand pressing against his chest, pushing him back. She grabbed a long curved blade from under her cloak. It glowed faintly with blue fire. They are here, she whispered. Daniel's heart pounded. He had no weapon, no plan. The door rattled. A low growl came from the other side. Then the door shattered. 3 alien warriors stormed in, tall and fierce, their eyes glowing with hunger. They carried blades and short rifles that hummed with strange energy. Human, one hissed. The inheritance does not belong to you. Hand over the scroll. Hand over the widow. Daniel stepped back, fear crawling up his spine. But Vera did not move back. She stepped forward. Her blade flashed. In seconds, one warrior was on the ground, blood burning like liquid silver. Another swung at her, but she moved with impossible speed, cutting his weapon in half. The last aimed his rifle at Daniel, but before he could fire, Vera's blade struck him across the chest. He fell with a scream that echoed into silence. Daniel stood frozen, his ears ringing. The smell of alien blood filled the room, sharp and metallic. Vera wiped her blade on the cloak of the fallen. Her breathing was calm, steady. Her eyes turned to Daniel again. Now do you understand? Daniel swallowed hard. His voice shook. They'll keep coming. She nodded. Until you are dead, or until you become what Kale wanted you to be. Daniel's fists clenched. And what's that? Vera sheathed her blade. A leader. The word felt heavy, like a weight placed on his shoulders. He wanted to argue, to scream that he was just a man, not a leader, not a warrior. But the blood on the floor told him that choice might already be gone. She walked to the bodies and searched them quickly. From one she pulled a small device, no bigger than a coin. Its light blinked red. Her eyes narrowed. They marked you, she said. Every clan knows where you are now. We cannot stay here. Daniel felt the ground shift beneath him. His whole world had already turned upside down, and now it spun even faster. Where will we go? Vera's eyes locked on his. To Kale's vault. That is where your inheritance truly waits, and where you will begin to understand why he chose you. Her words burned in his mind. Kyle's vault. What secrets waited there? Gold? Weapons, or something worse? She moved toward the window. With one strike, she shattered the glass. Cold night wind rushed in. Follow me, she said. Daniel hesitated. Through there? Her look was sharp. Do you want to live, human? Daniel took one last glance at the broken door, the dead warriors, the glowing blood. Then he climbed out into the alien night, chasing the widow whose eyes glowed like fire. As they ran across the rooftops, the city below was alive with movement. Fires burned in the distance. Shadows gathered in the streets. Somewhere horns sounded and ships lifted off into the dark sky. Daniel knew one thing for certain. Kale's death was not the end of a story. It was the beginning of a war. The night was alive with fire and whispers. Daniel followed Vera across the rooftops, his heart pounding. Below, alien warriors moved through the streets like hunters. Their eyes searched, their weapons glowed. The widow never slowed. Her long hair whipped in the wind as she leapt from one roof to another. Daniel almost slipped, but she caught his arm with surprising strength and pulled him forward. Do not fall, human, she said coldly. If they find you, they will not kill you quickly. At last they reached a black tower on the edge of the city. It was tall and sharp, like a blade stabbing into the sky. Strange symbols glowed across its walls. The heavy doors opened only when Vera pressed her hand to them. The stone groaned as it shifted aside. This is Kale's vault, she said. Only his bloodline could enter. But he made you part of it. Daniel hesitated at the threshold. The air inside was colder, heavier, as if the vault itself was alive. He stepped in, his boots echoing on the smooth floor. The doors sealed shut behind them with a loud crash. The hall stretched long and narrow, lined with statues of alien warriors. Their stone eyes followed him. He could almost feel their judgment. Vera walked ahead without fear, torches lit by themselves, as she passed revealing walls covered in carvings. Strange battles, burning stars. A prophecy etched in fire. Finally, they entered the main chamber. Daniel froze. The room was filled with treasures unlike anything he had ever seen. Piles of golden plates that glowed faintly, weapons forged of black metal humming with power, a great suit of armor that looked built for a giant. But three objects drew his eyes most. The first was a chest of alien coins. Each coin burned cold when touched, as if alive. The second was a small black cube floating above a pedestal. It pulsed with a soft hum, as if it had a heartbeat. The third was a star map, glowing in midair, showing systems Daniel had never seen. Some were marked with bright red symbols. Others blinked like warnings. Vera's voice was calm. This is Kale's true fortune. Not just wealth, knowledge, secrets, and power enough to destroy whole worlds. Daniel's chest tightened. He stepped closer to the cube. It pulsed faster as he neared. His reflection showed in its surface, but twisted, darker. For a moment, he thought he saw Kale's face staring back at him. He reached out. Stop, Vera snapped. Her blade was suddenly at his arm. Do not touch what you do not understand. That cube is not a gift, it is a weapon. Daniel pulled his hand back. His breath shook. Why would Kale leave this to me? I'm no warrior. I can't even fight. Vera's eyes softened for a moment. Because Kale believed you could become more. He trusted you with what his people feared, and now his enemies will hunt you until you use it, or die with it. Before Daniel could speak, the vault lights flickered. The air grew colder. A voice echoed. You should not be here. Daniel spun around. Between the statues stood a tall figure in dark armor. His eyes glowed red. His face was sharp, cruel. He stepped forward with silent grace, a long spear in his hand. Vera's jaw tightened. Kale's cousin, she whispered. The armored alien's voice was like ice. You shame our blood, widow. You stand with a human while Kale's true legacy belongs to me. He pointed the spear at Daniel. Give me the cube, give me the fortune, or I will cut you apart. Daniel froze. His throat closed. He had no weapon. No chance. Vera stepped in front of him, blade ready. You will not touch him. The cousin laughed coldly. You killed my brothers tonight. Do you think I will forgive that? Both of you will bleed. With a roar, he attacked. Vera met him with steel, sparks flying as blade clashed with spear. The sound echoed through the vault like thunder. She moved fast, but he was stronger. Each strike shook her arms. Daniel stumbled back. His eyes fell on the pedestal. The black cube pulsed faster as if calling him. His heart raced. Could it help? Them or kill them both? The cousin knocked Vera aside with a brutal strike. She crashed against the wall, blood shining on her silver skin. She groaned, trying to rise, but her blade was gone. The armored alien raised his spear over Daniel. Kale chose poorly, he hissed. You are weak. Daniel's eyes darted to the cube. He made his choice. He grabbed it. The vault shook. A wave of energy exploded from the cube, throwing the cousin backward. Statues cracked. The air turned electric. Daniel screamed. As light burned through his veins, filling him with fire and shadow at once. The cousin rose, snarling. But when he looked at Daniel, his red eyes widened in shock. You should not be able to hold it. Daniel's voice came out deeper, strange, as if another spoke through him. Kale trusted me, and that trust is stronger than your greed. The cousin charged again, but Daniel raised the cube. A blast of black light struck the warrior, throwing him across the chamber. He hit the wall with a scream, his armor breaking. Silence followed. Daniel fell to his knees, gasping. The cube dimmed in his hands, but it still pulsed, still alive. Vera staggered to him, her face pale. She stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. Kale was right, she whispered. You are chosen. Daniel wanted to speak, to deny it, but his vision blurred. His last thought before darkness took him was of Kale's voice echoing in his mind. Protect her. Protect the future, or all will burn. The vault was silent again. Only the soft hum of the black cube remained. Daniel lay on the cold floor, his breath shallow, his body trembling from the strange power he had touched. Vera knelt beside him, her silver hands pressed against his chest, feeling the wild beat of his heart. His eyes were half open, filled with confusion and pain. She whispered something in her language, words he could not understand, but her voice was low and heavy, like a prayer. When Daniel's breathing steadied, she stood and turned toward the broken wall where Kale's cousin had fallen. His body was gone. Only black ash remained. Vera's jaw tightened. He will not be the last, she said coldly. They will send more, stronger ones, and soon the whole council will demand your death. Daniel sat up slowly, still holding the cube. Its glow was weaker now, but it pulsed with every beat of his heart. I don't understand. Why me? Why would Kale put this in my hands? Vera's eyes darkened. She turned away, walking toward the wall carvings. Flames from broken torches danced across ancient symbols. She raised her hand, brushing dust from the stone. "You still don't see," she said. "This is not only about fortune, it is about prophecy." Daniel frowned, pulling himself to his feet. His legs shook, but he forced himself to stand. "Prophecy?" She nodded. "Long before Kale's time, long before mine, our seers wrote of a war that would return to our people. They said the clans would fight until the stars bled, and when hope was lost, an outsider would rise, a stranger with no blood ties, a human." Daniel froze. That can't be me." Her eyes turned to him, sharp and unreadable. "And yet the cube accepted you. No alien outside Kale's bloodline could hold it. You are not just a man now, Daniel Cross. You are Kale's heir, chosen by his hand and by destiny itself." The words felt like a weight crushing down on him. He shook his head, gripping the cube tighter. "I never wanted this. I'm no hero. I'm no leader. I'm just—" His voice broke. "I'm just a man who lost his only friend." For the first time, Vera's face softened. Her eyes glowed less bright, and her voice dropped lower. "Then, you understand why this hurts me too." Daniel looked at her, surprised. "You loved him?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. She turned away again. "Love was never our bond. Kyle married me for protection. I was a fugitive once, an assassin. The clans wanted my head. He gave me his name and I lived." Daniel stared at her in silence. Pieces of her past began to fit together in his mind. The way others looked at her with fear, the sharpness in her every movement, the way she killed without hesitation. "You're not just Kale's widow," he said quietly. "You're something more." Her eyes flashed. "Something dangerous." Daniel wanted to ask more, but something caught his eye. A hidden panel on the wall had cracked open when the vault shook. He walked closer and pulled the stone aside. Inside was a small metal plate, burned with words. He raised it to the torchlight. The letters were written in Kale's hand. His blood ran cold as he read the message. "Daniel, if you are reading this, I am gone. Trust no one, not even her." The plate fell from his hands. The sound echoed like thunder in the chamber. Vera's head turned sharply. Her glowing eyes locked on the words before the flame. For a brief second, something shifted in her face. Pain, anger, maybe even fear. Daniel stepped back. His breath came fast. "What does this mean, Vera? Why would Kale tell me not to trust you?" She didn't answer right away. She stood still, her blade hand twitching. The shadows of the chamber danced around her like fire. Finally, she spoke. Because Kyle was a warrior. He trusted his instincts more than truth. And his instincts told him I was a threat. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned brighter. Daniel's heart pounded. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe Kale's warning was wrong. But doubt gnawed at him, sharp and relentless. She stepped closer. The cube in his hand pulsed faster, as if reacting to her nearness. "Listen to me, Daniel. If you think Kale's death was murder, then you must also believe he left traps for those he feared. Maybe even for me. But remember this. I saved your life. I have no reason to betray you." Daniel's grip tightened on the cube. His mind was a storm. Every memory of Kyle, every whisper from the clans, every glance from Vera. Nothing felt certain anymore. The silence between them grew heavy. Then a distant rumble shook the vault. The walls trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. "They've found us," Vera said sharply. She pulled him toward a hidden door at the far end of the chamber. "We must leave now. The vault is no longer safe." Daniel followed, but his eyes kept flicking back to the metal plate on the floor. Kale's words burned in his mind like fire. "Do not trust her." As they slipped into the hidden passage, the cube pulsed once more in his hands, almost like a warning. And Daniel wondered if the true danger was not the clans outside, but the widow beside him. The hidden passage stretched for miles beneath the city. The walls were carved stone, old and cracked, yet strange lights flickered in the dark like living fireflies. Daniel and Vera moved quickly, their footsteps echoing. The cube pulsed in his hand with every beat of his heart. Behind them, faint. Rumbling grew louder. The clans were searching. They would not stop until the vault was empty, until Daniel and the widow were dead. At last, the passage opened into a vast cavern. A ship rested there, hidden for years. Its black hull was sharp and sleek like a blade of the night. Strange alien runes glowed faintly across its wings. Daniel stopped in awe. This was Kale's? Vera nodded. His warship. It has slept, since he chose peace. But now it is yours. The words made Daniel's chest tighten. He had never flown a craft like this. He barely knew how to fight. But there was no time to argue. Shouts echoed in the tunnels behind them. Get inside, Vera commanded. The ship's doors opened at her touch. Daniel stepped inside, the air thick with dust and memories. The control room glowed to life as soon as the cube neared the console. The ship recognized him. For a moment, Daniel thought he heard Kale's voice through the static. If you are hearing this, then the war has begun again. Before he could respond, Vera pulled him into the pilot's seat. Fly. Now. The cavern shook as alien warriors stormed in, their weapons flashing. Daniel's hands gripped the controls. His body trembled, but somehow the ship seemed to guide him, as if Kale's spirit still lingered in its systems. With a roar, the warship lifted into the air. Blue fire lit its engines, and the cavern shook as rocks fell from above. Warriors shouted, firing beams of light that scorched the hull. But then, with a burst of speed, the ship blasted through the tunnel and into the sky. The city shrank below, towers burned, horns sounded. Entire squadrons of alien fighters launched into the air to chase them. Vera strapped herself into the co-pilot's chair, her blade across her lap. They will not stop. You must fight. Daniel's hands tightened on the controls. I don't know how. You don't need to know. The ship knows. Trust it. The enemy fighters closed in, their engines screaming. Bright lines of energy cut across the sky as they fired. The warship shook, alarms blaring. Daniel gasped, panic rushing through him. But then his hand brushed the cube on the console. The ship responded instantly. Weapons glowed along the wings, targeting reticles flashing across the screen. Fire. Vera commanded. Daniel pressed the trigger. The ship unleashed a storm of blue energy. One fighter exploded into fire. Another spun out of control, crashing into the mountains. Daniel's heart raced. His fear turned into something else, something sharp, something fierce. For the first time, he felt what Kale must have felt in battle. But there were too many. Dozens of fighters swarmed them, surrounding the ship. Beams of red light tore across the sky. One struck the hull, sending sparks across the controls. Shields. Failing, Vera said calmly, though her eyes burned. Daniel gritted his teeth. We can't outrun them. No, she said, but maybe we can break them. Before Daniel could ask, the ship's warning lights turned red. A hidden voice crackled through the comms. Daniel Cross, I warned you. Daniel's blood ran cold. He knew the voice. Kale's cousin. The one he thought dead in the vault. You survived? Daniel whispered. The voice laughed. Your power means nothing. You only delayed your death. Now your ship is marked. Every clan vessel is hunting you, and someone close will betray you. The comms went silent. Daniel turned to Vera. Her face was unreadable, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. He remembered Kale's words. Do not trust her. The ship shook as more fighters closed in. Daniel forced his focus back to survival. He pulled the controls hard, spinning the warship into a roll. Blue fire burst from the cannons, cutting through 3 ships at once. The explosion lit the night sky like a second sun. But still they came. Vera leaned close, her voice sharp. We can reach the outer rim. There is a sanctuary Kale kept hidden. But you must trust me. Daniel hesitated. Kale's warning rang in his mind louder than ever. Not even her. And yet without her he would already be dead. Before he could decide, The ship's console flickered. A new signal appeared on the screen. Another ship had locked onto them, larger, faster, and stronger than the rest. Vera's eyes widened. That is no clan vessel, that is Kale's blood, his cousin commands it. The massive warship emerged from the clouds, its cannons glowing red. A predator hunting prey. Daniel's hands shook on the controls. We can't win against that. Vera's gaze was steady, her voice calm as steel. Then we don't win. We survive. The enemy ship fired. The sky lit up with blinding fire. Daniel pulled the controls with all his strength, the cube burning hot under his palm. The warship screamed as it dove into the storm of stars. The chase had only begun. The warship landed on the capital world 2 days later. Its hull was scorched, its engines weak, but it had survived the chase. Daniel had barely slept. Each time, he closed his eyes. He saw the cousins' burning ship in the clouds and heard Kale's warning echo in his mind. Now there was no running. The clans had called for a trial. If Daniel wanted to live, he had to face them. If he lost, his death would not be quick. The council hall was massive, built from black stone and silver towers. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, their robes flowing, their eyes glowing in the dark. Their voices were sharp like the hiss of fire. At the center stood a circle of light where Daniel now waited. He wore Kale's black cloak, the only gift Vera said would protect him. The widow stood beside him, tall and silent. Her eyes scanned the crowd like a predator waiting for prey. Daniel felt no comfort from her presence. Kyle's words still burned in his mind. Do not trust her. The council leader stepped forward. His voice was deep, ancient. Daniel Cross, you stand here as Kyle Thar's heir. His fortune, his ships, his widow, all passed to you. But you are no blood of ours. You are a human. You are unworthy. The crowd roared in agreement. Daniel swallowed hard. I never asked for this, he said, his voice trembling but steady. Kale was my friend. He saved me more times than I can count. He chose me. I did not choose this path, but I will not run from it. The leader raised his hand. Silence fell. Then prove it. By our law, you will face the trial of inheritance. If you live, the fortune is yours. If you fall, your blood stains this floor and the widow is given to another. Vera's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. The floor shook as the circle of light expanded. Walls rose from the ground, forming a great arena. Weapons lit up across the walls, blades, axes, spears, and alien rifles. Daniel's chest tightened. He had never fought in an arena before. The leader's voice boomed. Choose your weapon. Daniel's eyes scanned the wall. He wanted to reach for the rifle, but his hand froze when he saw a blade glowing with blue fire. Kale's blade, the one he had once carried into every battle. Daniel's hand shook as he took it. The blade was heavy, strange, but it hummed with energy the moment he gripped it. For a heartbeat, he thought he heard Kale's voice again. Stand tall, do not bow. The gates opened. An armored warrior stepped into the arena, taller than Daniel by 2 heads, his skin dark as stone, his eyes glowing red. He carried a massive axe that crackled with sparks. The crowd roared with bloodlust. The leader raised his hand. Begin. The warrior charged with a roar. The axe swung down like thunder. Daniel barely rolled aside, the ground splitting where the weapon struck. Dust and fire filled the air. Daniel's grip tightened on Kale's blade. He swung clumsily, striking the warrior's armor, but the blade only sparked. The crowd laughed, mocking him. The warrior struck again. Daniel blocked, but the impact nearly tore his arm apart. His knees buckled. Sweat poured down his face. From the stands, Vera's voice cut through the noise. Focus, don't fight his strength, fight his speed. Daniel forced himself to breathe. The warrior swung again, but this time Daniel stepped back, letting the axe crash into the ground. He moved fast, slashing across the exposed arm. Blue fire cut deep into the flesh. The warrior roared in pain. The crowd's laughter turned to surprise. The warrior attacked faster, his rage blinding him. Daniel ducked, rolled, and struck again, cutting across his side. Each strike burned with Kale's power. Finally, the warrior lifted his axe high for a killing blow. Daniel saw the opening. He leapt forward, driving the blade deep into the warrior's chest. The glow spread. Blue fire consumed the armored body. With a final scream, the warrior fell, shaking the ground. The arena went silent. Daniel stood trembling, Kale's blade dripping with fire. His chest heaved, his arms ached, but he was still standing. The leader's voice boomed again. "You survived the trial. You are Kale's heir." The crowd erupted, not with cheers but with anger. Many shouted curses, their eyes burning with hate. They wanted his death, not his victory. Then the cube at Daniel's belt pulsed. A hologram burst from it, filling the arena with Kale's image. His voice echoed through the hall. "My people, if you hear this, then I am gone. But my will remains. Daniel Cross is my heir. Protect him, for only he can guide you through the storm to come." The clan shouted in chaos. Some bowed their heads in silence. Others rose in fury. Vera stepped forward, her voice sharp. "You have heard Kale's will. The law is clear. Daniel is the heir. None can deny it." The leader hesitated, then raised his hand again. "So be it. Daniel Cross, you are heir. But know this. Your enemies are many. They will hunt you. They will betray you. The storm Kale spoke of has already begun." The light of the arena dimmed. Daniel lowered the blade, his hands shaking. He had survived the trial. He had won the inheritance. But as he looked at the widow beside him, his chest tightened. Kale's message echoed in his head. Do not trust her. And Daniel wondered if the greatest trial was not the battle he had just fought, but the choice still, waiting in his heart. The arena was still shaking with shouts when the council leader ended the trial. Daniel stood in the circle of light, his body weak, his arm bleeding, Kyle's blade heavy in his hand. The cube at his belt still pulsed, faint but steady, like a heart that refused to die. The clans were divided. Some bowed their heads to Kyle's will. Others hissed, their eyes burning with rage. The council could not silence them. The trial had proven Daniel was heir, but victory did not bring peace. It brought fire. Then, a new voice cut through the chaos. "I claim him." The hall froze. Vera stepped into the circle beside Daniel. Her silver skin glowed under the twin moons shining through the open roof. Her black hair flowed like water, her eyes burning with a fire even the warriors dared not meet. "I claim him," she repeated louder. "By blood and by bond I name Daniel Cross my husband, heir not only by Kale's will but by mine." The council gasped, the crowd erupted, shouts filled the air. Some cried in shock, others in anger. Daniel's blood turned cold. He stared at her. "What are you doing?" he whispered. Her gaze never left the clans. "Saving you." The leader's voice was sharp. "This is against tradition." Vera's voice cut like a blade. "Tradition is already broken. Kale's choice broke it. The trial broke it. Now this human stands here alive when all wished him dead. He is heir, and with me beside him, his claim cannot be challenged." The council faltered. The law was ancient but clear. If the widow chose, no clan could contest. The whispers turned to roars. Daniel felt the weight of 1,000 eyes on him. He wanted to deny it, to step back, but the cube at his belt pulsed faster. Kale's last words echoed in his mind. "Protect her. Protect the future." Was this what Kale had meant? Or was this the betrayal he had feared? Before Daniel could speak, the hall doors exploded open. Kale's cousin marched in, armored and burning with fury. His red eyes glowed like fire. Behind him came warriors from half the clans, weapons drawn. "This farce ends now," he roared. "The human dies, the widow dies, and the inheritance returns to true blood." The council shouted in panic as the cousin raised his spear. Chaos filled the hall. Warriors leapt over the walls, weapons flashing. Vera drew her blade, standing firm beside Daniel. "The war has begun," she whispered. Daniel's heart pounded. He lifted Kale's blade, though his arms shook. The cousins' warriors charged, but before they struck, the cube blazed with black fire. A wave of energy burst from Daniel, throwing warriors back like leaves in a storm. Statues cracked, the floor split. The crowd screamed in terror. Daniel's eyes glowed faintly. His voice came out deeper, filled with power not his own. "No more," the cousin snarled. "You cannot control it." He leapt forward, spear raised. High. Daniel met him with Kale's blade. The clash shook the hall, fire and lightning exploding where steel met steel. The cousin pushed hard, his strength overwhelming, but Daniel felt the cube's energy flow through him, guiding his arm, steadying. His breath. With a roar, Daniel struck. The blade cut through the spear, then through armor, and finally through Kale's cousin himself. The red glow in the cousin's eyes faded as he fell to the floor. Silence followed. The clan stared, stunned. A human had killed Kale's blood. Daniel lowered the blade, his chest heaving. He looked at Vera. She still stood, blade ready, her face calm. She stepped closer, her eyes locking with his. "You see now," she said softly. "Kyle chose well." Daniel wanted to believe her. He wanted to trust her. But the warning still burned in his mind. Do not trust her. The council leader raised his hand. His voice trembled, but it carried across the hall. "It is done. The human is heir, by trial, by prophecy, and now by blood." The clans shouted, some in anger, some in surrender. But above the noise, Daniel spoke, his voice strong for the first time. "I am not only Kale's heir, I am human. And I will not rule with greed or fear. I will fight for peace, for Kale's dream." The hall grew still. Even the angriest warriors paused, unsure. Vera stepped forward, standing beside him. Her voice was sharp as fire. "And I will fight with him. Widow no longer, but partner, wife." Daniel looked at her. Her eyes glowed fiercely, but behind them he thought he saw something else, something softer, hidden deep. The cube pulsed once more. A hologram flickered above it, Kyle's voice echoing for the last time. "Daniel, Vera, if you stand together, the clans will follow. If you fall apart, the galaxy burns. The choice is yours." The hologram faded. The hall trembled with the weight of Kale's final words. Daniel closed his eyes, then raised Kale's blade high. The clans bowed, some willingly, some by fear. The rebellion had begun. And in that moment, Daniel understood. Kale had not left him a fortune. He had left him a war. But he was not alone. The widow stood at his side. Whether ally or danger, only time would tell.